Good evening and welcome to tonight's Hofstra men's lacrosse post-game press conference with head coach Seth Tierney. Before we open the floor to questions, Coach, give us your thoughts following tonight's game against Fairfield.
Yeah, really disappointed today. I thought we let one get away. We weren't as sharp as I would have hoped in certainly the first quarter defensively. We bounced back, and settled in defensively in the second half, but and then offensively we had opportunities and we didn't bury them. Whether the ball, we missed the cage or hit the pipe, or those things are going to happen. Got it close, but we could never, could never get it over the top to get up one. We had an opportunity with Chase at the end, winning a huge face-off, going down, really close to calling a timeout, but he got inside, and you don't win or lose by any of those plays. It's probably the plays in the first quarter that we needed to change that score. So we got our work cut out for us. These are tiebreaker games later on, and we didn't get this one.
Questions?
It seemed like today that Fairfield was a more physical team. Do you think physicality played at all a factor in the win at all?
I don't know. I mean, they got some decent guys that have some size to them, but I don't. We were 1 for 4. There were 6 penalties tonight. Again, the physical doesn't mean penalty, but I don't know if it played a role in the ultimate outcome. I don't think so.
So, Coach, William Schulmaker from WRHU. Obviously, the game didn't end the way you wanted to, but what do you have to say about Matt Elder at 5 points tonight? Anything to say about that?
Sure. I mean, obviously now that Griffin Turner didn't play. He was out, one of our top middies. He got hurt in the Syracuse game. Not sure when he's going to come back, and we met with Matt. Coach Gongas, running the offense, met with Matt, and he did everything we asked him to do to try to fill in that role at that point in time, and he did his job tonight. Awfully proud of him. 5th-year guy. 1 huge goal and 4 assists. I think as a midi.
Coach, specifically during the second quarter, but you guys were forcing a lot of turnovers, and especially in that second quarter. And I'm curious your thoughts on the play from your defenders in those situations to force those turnovers.
Yeah. So they had 7 turnovers in that quarter. A couple came after a face-off that they won, and they sent it back to their goalie. We were fortunate enough to flip into a certain ride, and I think 2 of those turnovers came in there. We had a couple of times we flipped into zone and we picked off a few passes. And again, I guess one of the issues is they had 7 turnovers, but they still won the quarter 3-2. So we didn't take advantage of the opportunities that we got for ourselves. And they, in a 1-goal game, it's just taking advantage of one more, right? I mean, it's just one more scenario. It's a little bit coach's cliche-like, but it's all it was tonight. It was just one opportunity.
So it was the first game of CAA play. How are you looking to bounce back next week, try and get right back on track?
Yeah, we jump into spring break now, so we'll have a little bit more time with the guys to watch film, to rest, to heal. We got a couple of guys that are nicked up. You haven't seen Sam Lutfi, you haven't seen Woodland in a while. Certainly, Griffin Turner's been out, so there's been a couple of guys. You saw a couple of new guys out there for played a little bit more. Sterling Audrey played. We finally got Sheridan back 55. So we'll see how we handle spring break, and then we've got preseason number 1 coming to town with Delaware on Saturday.
Coach, just talk about the face-off unit. They performed really well against Syracuse and against Fairfield. It was 50-50 split.
Yep.
And just talk about with Chase, and then even with Ben Niesman getting some run
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there tonight.
Yeah, so, I mean, 50-50, so their number 3, he got banged up pretty good in the Bryant game. He did not play in their next game where they played Binghamton, and he was back tonight, and I thought that Chase did a pretty good job. You know, these stats, it says 50-50, and it's probably 50-50. I'm not saying the stats are wrong. The way we stat it is, just like your question, they may have won the face-off, but if we played offense or we wrote it back or we caused a turnover at that point in time, then it doesn't go to 50-50. But because they picked up the ball, it's 50-50. And we don't want to be 50-50, right? We got to be, you know, Chase has done an unbelievable job for us. He lost 2 or 3 in a row. It's hard to go to a guy in a night game in March that's pretty cold. And the first face-off that Ben Niesman takes, he pushes out forward, and he did a pretty good job. And then, you know, he started to get into the guy got a better read on Ben, and we went back to Chase, and Chase I think won the last 2 face-offs where we needed, you know, to get it within 1, and then he won the last one to almost to tie it up, go to overtime, but didn't happen.
Coach, go ahead.
Yeah, just one last question. You see like multiple times the Fairfield defenders were behind the net. No, Fairfield attackers were behind the net, and they found the cutting attacker. Do you think the defense was missing anything there?
No, I mean, a lot of times we were in zone there. So when you're in zone, you're kind of protecting on the inside. You know, we should be pushing out a little bit more to be on those hands. But you know, there's times where a zone you want to just cover in basketball the paint area and make them, you know, shoot a little bit more from the outside, knowing that we really like our goalie, you know, and let him see some shots from the outside. You know, Mac had 11 saves and 7 came in the second half. You know, we do want to play a little bit more aggressive, but we also want to make sure that inside the scout report was make sure that you know where 29 is at all point in time, because they all have eyes for him.
Speaking of 29, Jack McKenna finished with 3 goals and 2 assists. Do you feel you played him very well defensively, or that he was able to? Obviously, he got production, but
Yeah.
you feel that you made him work for it?
I do. You know, I have to go back to the film. Did he get, you know, a couple maybe in transition where we don't have, you know, a specific player on him, you know, the matchup that we had in our game plan. But he's one of their better players, right? 20, 21, 29 are their guys. And, you know, as you know, our guys are at the top of our score sheet. You know, 20, 21, and 29 are at the top of their score sheet. Those guys had 12 points, you know, so they're better players. Had a pretty good night tonight.
You mentioned a little bit earlier that you go into playing Delaware next week. What kind of momentum do you take from this game into that game against Delaware next weekend?
Yeah, probably, you know, certainly some anger, right? I mean, we didn't win, and now you start to feel like you got to play with your back against the wall, and you know, again, it's only one game, but this is not, it's not like other sports. You only play guys once, and you know, we do have extra games because our conference has grown, but you got to win those games that you may be in tiebreakers with, and this was one of them tonight.
If there are no more questions, this concludes tonight's post-game press conference. Coach, thank you.
You got it.